What's going on, guys? Hanging out with Casper right here. Want to do another one of our croc talk kind of podcast, swims with the alligator. And today's topic we're going to talk about is breeding season, because right now we are in the breeding season for the alligators, and there's a lot of information and misconceptions regarding alligator breeding season. And right now he's actually underwater right next to me. You can see him down there. It's kind of hard to see, but he's hanging out underneath the water right now. But he'll probably come up in just a second here. There you go, buddy. But anyway, so we just got into breeding season for the alligators, and I did a video, a reel the other day on Facebook and Instagram where I was showing some of the courtship behavior that they have. Really cool. So breeding season for the alligators is going to start up in the spring like it is right now. It actually came a little bit earlier this year just because of how warm it's been. A lot of places were reporting some courtship behavior earlier than normal. But anyways, how does courtship work? So what they're going to start doing is bellowing a lot more. Now they bellow year round, and I've seen them bellow literally every month out of the year. Even on cold days in December, they'll still bellow. But the frequency of bellowing definitely increases in the breeding season. And so if you haven't seen the videos before, definitely check them out. I've got a few posted on here where you can actually see them bellowing. And so when they bellow, arch the head and the tail, and they do this like deep kind of roaring sound. And it's so funny because whenever I'm around tours and I'm running a tour or something, and you know, I ask people, I'm like, oh, what do you think that sound means? And everybody's like, oh, it means he's aggressive, he's hungry, he's gonna attack. And I'm always like, nah, it's actually the complete opposite. It is an amorous alligator in most cases. So he's bellowing to try to impress the females or intimidate other males. It does have territorial implications as well, but I always like to make the joke, and people are like, oh, it means he's gonna attack. And I'm like, well, you better hope you're not the target, because it's not the kind of attack you're thinking of, you know? But yeah, so that bellow there will be used to, especially in breeding season, impress the opposite sex usually, and then also try to intimidate rivals, things like that. So the bellowing sound is actually directly proportional to the size of the alligator. So it's a very reliable and accurate way for an alligator to announce his size to the surrounding gators. And so again, they'll use that for courtship and territorial purposes. And I think we covered this in the last video on, male versus female gator stuff, but the males usually have more bass to it, and they'll produce the water dance where the water actually goes up like that. And then the females, their bellow is more kind of like a meh, and the males are more of like a boom. So there's a big difference there. The females don't generally produce a water dance either. I've never seen that. I have had some people tell me that they can. I've never seen it myself though. But anyway, so that's one of the things. One of the other things they'll do is they will flirt with each other. This is really cute. So what they'll do is they'll come up to each other and they will rub their noses. They'll blow bubbles. It is super cute. I actually posted a video last week, a Facebook, Instagram reel of some alligators where they're rubbing noses with each other. They'll blow bubbles at each other in the water. It's really cute, and they'll make like kind of little grunts at each other. So that's another courtship thing that they'll do, and it's adorable. Okay, I don't care if you don't even like alligators or you think these guys are like terrifying monsters. If you see them blowing bubbles and rubbing noses and your heart doesn't melt, there's something wrong with you. I don't care how scary you think they are. It's adorable. Okay, I love to see them doing their little courtship stuff like that. So really cute, and something that a lot of people don't think that they're gonna do. A lot of people, I guess, just kind of imagine that even if they're aware of the bellowing, like the bellowing's like, oh, I show dominance and blah, 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 but then you don't think that they have this softer side where they rub noses and they blow bubbles. And, it's very surprising to a lot of people, I think, because they think they're just kind of these dumb, brutish reptiles that just roar at each other and then have sex. It's like, no, they do little cute courtship things too. So that's really interesting, I think, So they'll do that. And then there's also, the discussion of what alligator sex is actually like. And if you saw, again, the reel I did the other day, I showed one of them, McLovin, actually trying to mount another alligator on land. Never seen that work out. Okay, so he's chewing on a leaf right next to me there. So for them to actually, they do internal fertilization, which is a polite way of saying things go in other places just like they do with humans, okay? Because some animals do external fertilization. So, I'm not trying to get too graphic here, and I'm not going to, show you a graphic video of exactly what it is that they're doing. But it is internal fertilization. Something has to go into somewhere else for, things to fertilize. Because some animals do external fertilization, like, frogs. Frogs don't have a penis, and so there's nothing entering anywhere. Alligators do have a penis, so it does enter in, and, internal fertilization does happen. Now, for that to happen, though, because of the way that, they are built, generally what will happen is the male will get up on top of the female and kind of like wrap his tail to the side of her tail and kind of do like a side saddle thing, while the rest of his body is kind of more or less on top of the other alligator. So that's generally how they're going to do that, and that requires them to be in the water so that the female's body is buoyant in the water and allows the male to reach underneath, right? That doesn't happen on the ground though, okay? So like in the case of McLovin trying to mount the other one on land, he's just sticking into the ground there. He's not going to get any access, if you get what I'm trying to say there. Sorry if this is a bit much for some people, or if any of this is offensive. I'm just going to try to talk in facts the best that I can and describe what's going on in the most responsible way that I can without it getting too weird, right? So generally, they have sex in the water. I've never seen them successfully mating on land, although you'll see them try. It seems like they kind of have to figure out how it works. Obviously, there's a lot of instinct there too, but there's also seems to be some silliness where I've seen them, mounting from the wrong side. I've seen them trying to do that. No, the other one doesn't facilitate that in any way, just in case you're thinking of other things. Doesn't happen, as far as I'm aware. Other animals do. Weirdly enough, we're not gonna. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. If you don't, I'm not getting in specifics because it's gonna become a very awkward conversation. But either way, they don't. Okay, is what I was going with right there. So, but they will try. Now, something I also showed in my video the other day is male-to-male mating. And a lot of people were very surprised by this. And in fact, with alligators, this is extremely common. I see this all the time in the wild or in captivity, because a lot of people are thinking of it as, and I'm not going to get into politics here, okay? I know this, a lot of people giggle and they laugh and, oh, you're putting the gay in Gator and this kind of thing. Like, those were the comments. I'm not going to get into this politically. I'm just going to talk about it with the facts of what I do witness, what I do see them doing. And I'm not getting into the politics of this because everybody has, especially these days, people have a lot of opinions about this kind of subject, and I am not entertaining any such opinions. I'm just going to tell you what I see them doing, and just try to be as apolitical and scientific, because this is biology. This is what they do, whether you like it or not, whether you are in favor of the gators doing their thing or not. I don't care. I'm just trying to explain what they actually do and the most responsible way that I can. Come here, Casper. So anyways, I have seen at many different parks in many different scenarios and different situations in captivity and in the wild, where in the breeding season, basically it is usually just kind of, and I don't mean this to say it in an inflammatory way, it's an orgy. Like, it really is in the definition of the word. All the gators, everybody's having sex with everybody. You'll see male to male with male to female right next to them. One male will mount a female, and then a couple hours later, he's mounting another male. Many times I've seen male to male with a female right next to them, just looking at them, watching them, So they do their own thing, is what I'm trying to say. And again, I know this, if you read the comments on the post I made the other day showing the two males together, wow, people really lost their minds a little bit on that one, okay? So that's why, again, I'm trying to be as apolitical as I can, and not that this should be a political subject, but whatever it is to some people. You will have male to male, even if females are there. A lot of people are like, oh, they're only doing that because they don't have access to females. No, that's not true. I have seen them with females. They have options. They're choosing to do male to male. Oh, maybe they're confused. No, they're not. They know the difference between a male and a female, 1000%. They're not dumb. They're not confused. They're choosing to do that on their own, right? Now, in the breeding season, when it's kind of this orgy scenario, they're all doing it, okay? Everybody is engaged with each other, it doesn't matter, male to female, whatever. That's why, like, I do say it's like an orgy, not because it's a funny word or because people giggle like, ho, 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 he said alligator orgy. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm telling you that's literally what it is. They're all having sex with each other all across the board with no differentiating between male or female. It's just craziness, right? So that is one thing. Another thing, though, that I have also seen that I was showing a little bit in the other video is we do have a pair of alligators that I work with that do seem to be gay. It's two males that are choosing to bond with each other, because when it's the like orgy scenario and they're all just having sex with each other, that's what it is. But then you also see individual bonding between certain individual animals, and so like I've seen like Crackerjack in a lot of my videos. You guys know her. I have seen her seek out JJ. He's the biggest male in there, in that enclosure at least. And I've seen her seek him out and specifically flirt with him specifically. Now, again, in that orgy scenario, they're all having sex. Everybody has sex with everybody. But outside of those situations, he seeks, or she, actually, interestingly enough, she initiates with him. She seeks him out and she initiates the flirtatious behavior with him. I've seen it myself. So that's pretty interesting right there, right? That's kind of a cool behavior to know. So they will pair up with each other sometimes. Even, again, they're not monogamous, but they do definitely have individuals that they pair up with and that they prefer. And so even though they're not monogamous at all, and it's just, again, it's an orgy, they do have certain individuals that they will pair up with and they do favor. Now, in this situation, Macho and Loki, two males, absolutely favor each other. And they choose to be with each other year-round, actually, not just in mating season. Now, I don't see them engaged in mating behavior outside of the mating season, but I do see them paired up year-round. And they're always together. They're always hanging out together on land and in the water. And I've even seen them go to chase out a female out of their little area that they're hanging out with together. And then, like, Crackerjack walks over, and I've seen Loki chase her out. Like, that's pretty fascinating. That's pretty interesting behavior I've never heard of or seen outside of that little trio. So really, really interesting stuff. I think that their social and mating behavior is much more complex than most people would give them credit for or think about. And what I am very curious about that I would love to do is in these situations where it is a crazy orgy or whatever, but then they also have their own individuals that they prefer to pair up with. I would love to do a paternity test on the offspring. Like, when they do have offspring, are those eggs fertilized by the one that they choose to pair up with? Like if Crackerjack is choosing to pair up with JJ, but also having sex with everybody else anyways, some animals have the ability to select who they're allowing to fertilize the eggs. That has been shown in other species. So it would be fascinating to find out whether or not they have control of that. Like, are they just socially having sex with each other, not for reproduction, and then actually having reproductive sex where they do allow fertilization with individuals that they want that to be with? I don't know. That would be really interesting to find out about. Now, on that note, though, the two parks that I work at, with Everglades Outpost and Everglades Holiday Park, they're two separate entities, by the way. Right now we're here at Everglades Outpost where I do my underwater gator tours with Casper. We just finished doing tours today. And then, like Crackerjack and JJ right now, we're at Everglades Holiday Park. We do move gators back and forth between the two parks, but they are separate, right? Now, at both places, though, we're not trying to breed the alligators. We're trying to rescue adult nuisance gators, so we're not trying to breed them. So what I mean when I say we're not trying to breed them is we're not trying to produce offspring. So we let them have sex. I'm not going to prevent them from having sex. For one, I want them to be able to do that. That's normal, natural for them, and I want them to be able to enjoy their life. They're supposed to be able to do that. So we want them to be able to do that. None of them are neutered or fixed or spayed or anything, and I've never heard of anybody successfully doing that with gators anyways. So how do we prevent having babies? Very simply, you just don't incubate the eggs. When they do go to lay the eggs come out blank like a chicken egg. There's nothing in there unless you incubate. So we can just take the eggs out and not incubate them. And then it's not like you're killing babies or anything because nothing's developing yet. So you just don't incubate the eggs. Very simple answer, because we're not trying to produce offspring, because we're trying to save adult alligators. And even if we did produce offspring, what are we going to do with them? We're not legally allowed to release them back out in the wild. So then we just have baby alligators in captivity for the rest of their life. We're never allowed to release them back out in the wild. So we're not trying to produce offspring, right? So anyways, though, there's no way for me to test my experiment to see if there is any selective paternity there. But it would be really cool to find out if somebody else is doing that sort of thing. Maybe somebody else can take that experiment up and check it out. But really, really cool, right? But anyways, so I think I covered most of the mating behavior right there. It's a pretty cool, interesting subject. This video is already 15 minutes long though, so I will have to go into actual nesting behavior and whatnot on a different video, because that deserves its own video, talking about like how the temperature determines the gender of the babies, how females protect their nest, what care the mothers offer. That's all really cool, interesting stuff we'll have to do in another video, but this one's already gone on for a while, so I'll go ahead and end this. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. What do you think? What are other ideas you want me to talk about in other videos? Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you guys in the next one.